Hello, everybody, and await no longer. Here is the Trophy Room's Far Cry 6 review discussion. I am your host, Joseph. Alongside me, the greatest co-host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to learn all about Far Cry 6.
I'm very excited to talk about Far Cry 6, but before we get into it, I just want to let the video audience know that what you're seeing on screen is all the early hours of the game, along with the Ubisoft footage that they've shown through all the teasers and stuff. So there is no spoilers here. It is very much a spoiler-free discussion. And with that, Ubisoft has given us a code for the game. So take anything what I say with a grain of salt. With that, Kyle, let's get into it, because Far Cry 6 has a lot to do after coming off of what was Far Cry 5, which is a very divisive title in the series.
And on that note, I just want, since you played the game, I have not yet.
Yeah.
So I'll be asking some questions as you talk about it.
Absolutely.
My biggest issue when Far Cry 5 came out is I didn't dig the what was it? The Joseph Fares? No, Joseph Fares is the game director. Why can't I think of their names?
Just call him Priest Joseph.
Sure. The cult leaders.
Yeah.
I didn't dig that story fully.
Sure.
It was a beautiful world and whatnot, but nothing about that story wanted me to keep going. Yeah. How does Far Cry 6 fix those things with 5? Or if they don't, just is the story worth experiencing all of Yara for?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, thank God.
So. Whereas, like, Father Joseph, a very forgettable character, I can't even remember his name too. I did not like him as a villain.
Joseph Seed.
Joseph Seed. There you go. Look at that. Angry comments out of here. Joseph Seed, I did not like him as a villain. I did not like his cult, like, sub bosses. I thought they were trying to be way too cartoony, way too animated, and they just lost me there. I didn't like the story, and I didn't like where it ended. With Far Cry 6, this is, I think, the best cast that they've have in this series. Like, awesome. Let's start here. The story is, this is a fictional country of Yara. Let's just say it's Cuba, though. That's what they're really going after here. In the middle of a revolution, they're fighting a fascist dictator by the name of Anton Castillo. He is played by Giancarlo Esposito. And Kyle, why did Ubisoft show so much of him? Like, we needed to be convinced that Giancarlo Esposito can act. He is phenomenal in this role. Goodness. He chews up every single scene he's in, and you could legitimately tell he's having a great time.
So that's another question I had, where a lot of Far Cry villains, you see them very early on in the game, and then you hear them talk to you throughout it, but they're pretty much sight unseen. Is Anton more...
He's more involved.
He's more present. That's great.
And the thing that they do, the sub-bosses, some people may not like this, I kind of like it, is the sub-bosses, the generals that you face, don't have much of a personality, because they're really the fuel to Anton. They're really there to showcase how crazy Anton is. And to be honest with you, Anton and Vaas, two actors playing them in the Breaking Bad universe, two of the best villains in the Far Cry series, hands down. Because if Vaas is like the Far Cry Joker, Anton is Lex Luthor. He is a mastermind. He is ruthless. He is cunning, and he has this power, and he's going to do whatever it takes to keep it. And what makes his character so awesome is actually the protagonist, Dani Rojas, which I played the female version, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but Nisa Gundez, she kills this role. This is for the first time in a Far Cry game that we actually care about the protagonist, because she's just so lively. She has so many, I guess, layers to her that you really want to see where she goes in this story. And the cast that surrounds her is also diverse, and they're not caricatures of Cuban people. They're very much, yes, it's Far Cry. Like this is take it as it is. This is Fast and the Furious for the most part in terms of story, but they do a really great job at respecting the culture that is the Hispanic culture that they're trying to emulate here in Yara. So everybody does just such a stellar job, Kyle.
Yeah, which is very good to hear. When it comes to Dani as a character, most Far Cry characters that you play as, I think of Jason Brody, pretty much faceless.
Yeah.
And you first person the entire time. I believe what in Far Cry 6 they changed it to like cutscenes are now in third person, I guess, where you can actually see Dani and interact. Does that help with the story and help getting more involved and immersed in what's going on?
Yes, it makes the character way less one-dimensional. And you can actually see the emotions that Dani's going through. So yeah, it helps 110%. I love the story. It's the reason why I keep going into each level, why I keep exploring each area, is the story keeps driving me there. That said,
minor thing.
Oh, yeah, go for
it. How is Best Boy Chorizo? Is he worth it?
We'll get into that in a bit.
Okay.
We'll wait on Baby Chorizo. That's for sure. Okay. There are technically 5 areas. I'm not going to call them biomes because they're absolutely not that. This is the temperament or the climate that you would expect a Caribbean nation to be. So it's mostly jungle. But what they have there is you have the thick of the jungles. You have the farmlands, the plains, the mountains, the arid regions, which I actually hone into kind of in Spain or that of Texas, arid environments. This game is beautiful. The map is huge, sprawling. There's a lot to do here. But the one thing that I really love is how natural everything kind of flows into each area. It does feel like an actual place on the map. And when it comes to the villages and even the cities, it's so colorful. It's kind of like what we look at when we see Cuba, the colorful houses, the colorful doors, all that is there and it's present here. And this map is huge. There's so much to do that it literally fills a page of notes. So that
was my next question. Exploring the map, seeing everything, it's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Is it fun to explore the map? What are you doing?
Yes, and they give you reasons to explore it. So this is a Far Cry game, so you're clearing out bases, you're ambushing patrols, you're clearing checkpoints, you're doing actual treasure hunts, and then you're doing actual hunts, like hunting animals. You do have the climbing some towers. There is some climbing here.
Yeah, okay.
But
sounds Far Cry so far.
But the traversal is really cool. So you can actually zip line to mountain or take a helicopter or like squirrel suit along the map. The way you could traverse is so great. You can literally drop in a squirrel suit in a checkpoint and just fly around if you want to, or just spawn on the ground. There's a lot to do. There is co-op in this game. Sadly, I did not get to partake because I didn't have anybody to play with me. And there's also races. Everything is varied. There's a lot to do. Even some side quests. There's a lot in this game. So you could get lost in it.
So far, that does sound like an Ubisoft game, and that does sound like what pretty much all the other Far Cry's have.
Yeah.
Where you're hunting animals for pelts, and I assume those pelts upgrade your pouches and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why you want to explore is you get upgrades to guns, or just straight up you discover new weapons and unique weapons that have cool designs to them by just exploring the world and clearing bases. So there's always something to do and a reason to do it.
Another reason to do those things in past games, I think of 3 first and foremost. Mm-hmm. You unlock skill points that help with things. Is there another skill point system here for upgrades?
No. So
there's not. Okay.
Yeah, so they do upgrades differently here. At least from what I've experienced, it maybe I've done it completely wrong, but it's all in the weapons that you get to really mod out. So the one cool thing that they took the essence of like what we envision Cuba is we see these 50s cars running around, right? And they're all modded. They're all 50 years old, but they somehow work, you know? They do that with the weapons here as well. And it doesn't feel like you're throwing garbage on your AK-47 and it looks dumb now. It actually looks makeshift, but it makes it look distinct. How many games are you going to get an ACOG scope on your AK-47 and it looks military and, you know, standardized? This looks completely custom. And when you get into the modding of each weapon, you actually have like fire ammo that just comes stock if you want to mod your weapon with fire ammo or poison ammo or ammo that rips armor off of enemies or does bonus damage to people with helmets or does bonus damage to soft targets without big armor. So it gives you a reason to mix and match guns as you're going into battle or really plan out how you want to play. And on top of that, Kyle, when it comes to modding your weapons with like suppressors, this is really cool. And I love that more games are moving away from suppressors make your gun silent forever. You get a couple of shots with each gun, and then your gun starts actually popping. The suppressor itself somehow, with the magic of video games, overheats. So you can't just go guns blazing and be completely SEAL Team 6. You actually have to be smart in how you're working the map. That being said, you could play this game however you want to play it. So if you want to go guns blazing, you could trick out your weapon to make it fit your play style. You can play the way you want. And the thing that they've added, Kyle, is things called supremos, which are just ultimates in Destiny. I found the one that works with me and I got from the beginning of the game. It's pretty much a mortar fire that tracks enemies. Yeah, a lot of fun. It's very much to me like the panic button of like, I'm about to die. Something needs to happen here. But you could get like supremos that like heal you, that puts you in stealth, all that type of stuff.
Speaking of stealth, because that's man, you're going straight into my questions. It's
Go for
brilliant. One of my favorite things to do in Far Cry is actually stealthing around and picking people off with like a crossbow or a regular bow and arrow. And the enemy detection has not been the greatest in past games. Is it still a little wonky?
Oh yeah, AI are real dumb.
Okay.
They're big dumb idiots.
But is there a good bow? Is there a good silent option?
Yes. Silencers and suppressors, to me, that's the way I've been doing it.
Okay.
So like I got like a M16 or no, an M14 silence with an ACOG scope, and that's how I've been maneuvering the game for the most part. I have a Beretta that's also silenced, and then I have like my panic gun, which is like this big giant AK-47 that I use.
Sweet.
The other thing that they also do is, and let me make sure I get the word right here. They are called, put this one as a, there you go. Resolver weapons, which are just completely makeshift. These are like, here's a minigun that you have to rev up because the engine is literally an engine from a motorcycle. You have the Macarena weapon. You have this like this dumb looking mortar gun that looks like something out of like Roadhog's weapon in Overwatch. These resolver weapons are really fun. My favorite one is there's actually like a shotgun revolver with a shield. So I could just go into like a building and just take bullets with the shield and just pop people with the pistol.
I like that.
Yeah, combat in this game is
Are those
stellar.
like those unique weapons when you're going around the map, you'll find them and then they become yours?
No, you're actually crafting these weapons as well. Okay. Everything revolves around the workbench. Great. Thank you for picking that up. Everything revolves around the workbench. And speaking of workbench, there's also base building, which if you blink, it's there.
Something real quick before we go to base building, since we're talking about the guns.
Go for it, please.
You played it on PS5?
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask.
Oh, I know what you're going to ask.
Haptics, adaptive triggers. How's it feel?
This is the best haptics in a AAA third-party game.
Sweet.
Most weapons feel different in terms of like subcategories. The haptics are fantastic. The adaptive triggers are fantastic in this game. That's literally what I was doing before we were recording, making sure that every gun felt different. For the most part, a lot of them do. It's very varied in the haptics. So that's fantastic. It's great.
All right. So what about the space building?
Okay. It's there. It exists.
Okay.
Please stop putting this in your game, Ubisoft.
Is it better than Fallout 4?
Yes, because each pretty much you have 3 main bases and you can only put 2 things in each base. So you're not constantly overwhelmed and you're not really worried about the upkeep. There are some missions where it's like send banditos to do missions for you to get currency. I hate that too. Please, Ubisoft, get rid of that. I don't like it. I don't like this time management thing. Please, no. There's also mini games, dominoes, which I'll rock at, and cockfighting, which is a take on Pokemon. If you're into that, me, not a big fan of cockfighting, so I never delved into it.
That's fair.
In real life and just in video games. You all know how I feel about animals,
Well,
damn it.
I hope in real life you haven't delved into cockfighting.
Well, you know, from time to time, you're curious. I do want to mention cars and vehicles. So, like, the makeshift nature of the weapons also goes into the cars. And the ATVs, the helicopters, the little, like, hovercraft, jet skis, all of which feel great. But it's Far Cry. So, it's like you're...
Most Ubisoft games, if I'm not, like... If I'm off brand here, please come at me.
Go for it.
Driving isn't great in Ubisoft games.
No.
From the first Watch Dogs game to all the Far Cry games, the vehicles feel floaty and they don't feel great. Like, is it the same thing?
They feel like legit you're playing the intro of Naked Gun. Like, that's what it really feels like when you're driving a car.
Yeah.
And it remains true. These things handle ungodly well for being like 70-year-old vehicles, but they are there if you're interested in them. It's never been a thing for me in Far Cry.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not leastly, let's talk about Amigos, the last major thing that you touched on. Little baby chorizo.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like they missed something here. Because the AI is so dumb, I don't need my Amigos. My little pets that I could send to attack people. You get an alligator at first, and then I got Chorizo, which shoots rockets at people. And he's adorable and everything. And you could pet him and tell him he's a good boy. A little baby boy. He's a little peanut. But other than that, you can't. There's no use. Also, and this is going to sound inhumane and harsh, but little Chorizo has a little wheelchair, and it's cute as all hell. But it adds a rickety noise that squeaks in my ear, and I find it irritating. It's a little pet peeve, but just throwing it out there.
All right.
Last but not leastly, I do want to talk about sounds and the music. Every weapon sounds amazing. The cars sound great. Again, the voice actors sound terrific. The music feels and sounds authentic to the area. I can't reiterate this enough. I love the salsa music that they have, and then they have more contemporary stuff that I don't like, but like hearing like things that are reminiscent to like the Gypsy Kings on the radio brings me back to like my house every Sunday. So I really do like what Ubisoft went here, and they really approached everything with care. Did they get it right 100% of the time? No. But I'll end with this, Kyle. This game is the best Far Cry game I've played, period. And I think it does have to do with an area that I know. And again, they may not handle every character correctly or PC, but you can see that there's a legitimate effort in, and I award them for that. So that said, Kyle, we don't usually rate things on this show.
No,
we just say recommend or highly
before we
recommend.
rate things.
Yeah.
Before we started, you're like, Kyle,
yes,
make sure I talk about a specific gun. And before we rate it, I need you to talk about the Naked Gun. What is this all about?
No. Naked Gun's the movie. That was the car reference.
I thought you were talking about there was a gun that was called the Naked Gun. And I was
but you need culture, my friend. You need to watch the Leslie Nielsen movies.
I love Naked Gun. What are you talking about?
Good. The Macarena gun. There's a little attention to detail here. When you hold it down, the music does play. Like all the way. And if you shoot it, it'll begin where it left off with the next disc.
I wonder, I don't know if you tried this with that gun, but like if you stealth and hold it down, will the music attract the enemies?
No.
Oh, okay.
So you won't hear it when you're hip fire, but you will hear it when you zoom and aim down sights. So
okay.
it actually does a really terrific thing with that 3D audio of actually you'll hear it and it's close up. It's nice. Makes you feel nice.
All right.
Now, Kyle, again, we usually don't rate stuff on the
Sure.
show, but I thought while recording this is a PlayStation show. So do I recommend it? Yes. Is it a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum game? I'm gonna hit it with a gold. I said this is worth your money at launch. Go ahead, get it. It's great. I really enjoyed my time.
What keeps it from that platinum?
You know what? Great question. There's something with Ubisoft games that I love, but I never go, oh yeah, that's my game of the year. Like I'm playing this, I'm like, I'm loving this, but I don't know if this is above Deathloop for me. I think I think maybe a coat of polish that isn't there that breaks me out of it. But yeah, this is a really great time, and I do advise everybody to go out there and purchase it. It's great.
Amazing.
Especially if you're on PS5. It's fantastic.
I'm so excited. I got my gold edition fully pre-ordered and ready. Man, I'm excited that it hits and you loved it. And I'm just fingers are crossed that I also enjoy the game. In addition, that they hit the DLC with the villains just as well as they do the main game, because that I think could be something pretty special.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With that said, that's been the Trophy Room Reviews Far Cry 6. If you like this video, please hit like, share, subscribe. It helps us out. It grows this little channel. And if you liked our lovely conversation, we do this each and every Thursday, but we talk about PlayStation instead. All your weekly PlayStation news right here on the Trophy Room, wherever you get your podcasts. And so with all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody, keep hunting, keep your wits about you, and keep playing PlayStation.